What's up everyone, John from Beyond ARTV. I just got back from one of the best concerts, who am I kidding, the best concert that I have ever been to, Green Day. You guys know that they are my favorite band. I had actually never seen them live. I never got to see them whenever I was a kid, growing up, whenever I was obviously super into them. They were really impacting my life, but I wasn't allowed to go to concerts. Definitely not a Green Day concert, at least. And my friends were going, and the best thing that I ever got was my friend bringing me a shirt back from a show. And it was kind of like a fuck you, because it's still like, yeah, well, you couldn't make it to the show, but here's a shirt. Everything leading up to this concert was chaotic. The past week, if you've been following me on Twitter, you know, was a bit of a rampage just leading up to this. All the madness, I was totally sick, landed myself in the hospital due to dehydration, and I finally got back on my feet, and I was just really worried. I was like, am I gonna be really enjoying this show? Am I gonna be at 100%? Am I gonna be able to jump, sing, shout, and look Billy Joe Armstrong in the eyes? And the answer was yes to all of those things, because I pushed myself really hard. I was exhausted by the end of this, I think about 2.5 hour set list that they ripped through, but it was so worth it. Honestly, the exhaustion didn't even really set in until after like the first encore. It was kind of like a two-part encore type thing between like their regular songs and then a couple of acoustic ones, but we'll talk more about the set list in just a minute. It's insanity that Green Day have been a band for almost 30 years at this point, and they still get up on stage and have the energy and the presence that they do. And obviously they had great openers that really set the tone for the night. I'm not huge into Against Me, the band that opened up, but I thought Laura Jane Grace and company put on a very good show. I really started getting into it once I recognized some more of the songs. I knew their opening one and a couple of other ones scattered throughout the set list, and while I couldn't understand a lot of it, a lot of the words, I feel like her mic wasn't exactly that great throughout the night. In some places I was able to understand it more clearly than others. I still thought they had great instrumentals on their music. They really ripped through some of them, and I was definitely shouting along to I Was a Teenage Anarchist. I will plan on checking out more of their music ASAP. A little bit of backstory before I get into the set list, the energy, the crowd interaction, and that sort of thing, because myself and my girlfriend didn't exactly have an easy time getting these tickets. Hannah was on trying to get them, I was on trying to get them like right when they went on sale, and the pit tickets just weren't coming up. They weren't coming up. In fact, to the point where we had to buy section tickets just like somewhere back in the crowd. I mean, they weren't horrible seats by any means, but it's my first Green Day show, damn it. I have to get the pit. On a total whim, I said fuck it, and I was like, I'm just gonna keep refreshing the page and see what happens. And I was like, I'll do it one more time. I refreshed it, and what do you know? 2 pit tickets right there, and I about collapsed. Thank God I didn't, because I bought the tickets and I went to the show, of course. Getting back on track with the show, I am going to work some of the clips that Hannah shot throughout the night into my video. I'll probably overlay them as I'm talking to maybe add some context to some of the parts that I'm speaking of. And first, I really wanted to talk about Green Day's energy. Like I was talking about them being a band for so long, they are a live band for sure. I mean, not that they're not amazing and fantastic on studio albums, because obviously I think that, but seeing them live, not just the videos, obviously I've seen all of their live DVDs from Awesome as Fuck to Bullet in a Bible to just random performances and festivals that I've looked up on YouTube. Actually being there and experiencing Green Day's presence is just another world fantastic. I mean, the energy that these guys run around on stage. I just saw at a couple of parts, I really noticed Billy just running around, like the way that he would just kind of skitter across stage, running all over the place, almost like just a little rodent just scurrying all over the place, so fast, jumping off of things, and then Mike jumping up in the air, Trey Cool coming down from the drum kit, running up, jumping, kicking, all of these random things, jumping off of the top of his little staircase thing that he had, and I'm just like, where do men in like their mid-40s get this kind of energy? And it's because they love the music and they love the fans so much. You could see Billy Joe Armstrong smiling throughout the night so many times, giving speeches about how he felt like Pittsburgh PA, which is obviously where I caught the show, is like the Oakland of California, and talking about how much he loved playing here. And honestly, you could really truly see that. You see some bands that will say, oh yeah, this is such like a best crowd yet, and that sort of thing. I watch performances of Green Day and I've watched full concerts, and And it's not something that he says every single show, so whenever he calls that out and singles out a crowd like that, I feel like it really is because of the interaction the crowd is having with him. He also had a couple of cool moments that I really enjoyed. Obviously, the "fuck you Donald Trump" right towards the end. I think myself and my girlfriend cheered louder than anybody else in the section. The crowd just really went wild in general, and I love that because we are a part of the revolution, the anti, the against, and that was fantastic. He also gave a nice little speech about like cell phones at the show to some girl that was recording. He was like, what are you doing there? You're recording a video on your cell phone. See, I get it. And then he didn't just mock the fan. It was the fact that he gave like a lesson within it, and it's something that I feel like a lot of people need to take something away from, and I think a lot of people did from that point on from the show. That was only about 5-6 songs in, and I think a lot of people did start to put their phones down, or else just take shorter clips instead of just trying to film the entire concert. What's the point of that? The band as a whole still seemed like they're having so much fun. I could see Billy and Mike smiling at each other so many different times. Mike was cracking up, especially after a fan ran on stage and just hugged him tight. She apparently was a bassist. She was invited on stage to play Knowledge by Operation Ivy, the cover that they do, and she ran instead of to Billy, who called her up on stage. She goes straight to Mike and gives him a bear hug, and he's just, the way he reacted after that was fantastic. I thought it was hilarious, and they always handle things so well. And then Billy Joe Armstrong just bringing fans up on stage. Obviously I would have wanted to be one of those, but we're not gonna hold any grudges about that, because we did have a couple of other cool moments as I was super close. I was standing, I should say, right at the end of the little catwalk thing that they built. Obviously there's the main stage, and you can see exactly where I was by looking at some of this footage that I'm putting on screen here. Throughout the night, I think it was 3 or 4 different fans that actually got called up on stage to either sing during Know Your Enemy, or it's Longview, or play guitar on the Operation Ivy cover, and I actually got to talk to the kid that was up on stage for Longview, and this was apparently his second time on stage. I talked to him after the show, and he had gotten called up at another concert, I think in a different state or something like that, and he was possibly staying in the same hotel as Green Day. I am jealous as fuck, dude, but that was awesome seeing the fans up there. Yes, obviously, still very high-key jealous, but whatever. I'm sure I'll go to another Green Day concert, and maybe Billy will see the 6'6" dude in the swimmer's shirt next time. No, but in all seriousness, I actually did kind of make some contact with Billy a few times throughout the night, which was really awesome. Right away on the opening cut, Know Your Enemy, we actually locked eyes for just a split second, and it was really awesome, and I was already freaking out, and I felt so bad for my girlfriend Infinity on Hannah because she actually could not see the majority of the concert, just being so short, bogged down by all of these like guys and girls in front of her that were just apparently towering over. We were standing in like the super tall section or something like that, and I did feel really bad for her, but during that song and a couple of other songs, we actually both had a couple of moments where we made eye contact. And the first of those, like I said, during Know Your Enemy, and another one while I was shouting back, like during the, I think it was during the shout part of King for a Day and Shout. Obviously Jason Freeze was down doing his thing on his sax, and that was awesome, but then Billy's like in the background like pointing and stuff, and like he looked right at me whenever he pointed one of the times, and I was just like, oh, hey, what's up? Okay, wrap it up on the eye contact moments, John, sure, but I'm getting to the best one, the one that I guess means the most to me, just because I had been waiting for this moment seriously since I was a 13-year-old. I had been dying to see these guys live, I'd been dying to be close, and whenever I saw a Green Day concert, I never imagined that I would be so close to Billy, and Billy came down that catwalk so many times and was just playing. He had his mic stand and his guitar set up right there, and that is one experience that I definitely would not change for standing on either the left or the right, where he was calling mainly people out to come up on stage. He didn't call anybody from the middle section. Trey didn't walk out, throw any drumsticks, nobody threw any guitar picks to the center section at the end of the catwalk, but I wouldn't give it up just because of the experience that I had right at the end there, right at the end of the catwalk, and he would come out and he played Boulevard of Broken Dreams right there, pretty much in full, the entire song, and that was amazing. It was something that was extremely emotional for me, and I think that was like the 4th or 5th song in the set list, and you guys know that that's my favorite song of all time, and I could not help but just be overwhelmed by emotion. In fact, I broke down and started like crying during that, and it's something that I'm not ashamed of because it's been my favorite song since I was 13, and I started thinking about that during the song and just what the song especially meant to me during those years, and seeing how I've grown from that and how I'm here standing in front of the people that I considered and still do consider icons, heroes, people that I look up to so much in my life. Just hearing that song and just seeing Billy feet away from my face singing that live and just still playing it with the passion and fervence of a band that is so much younger than they actually are, it was truly spectacular. And no, there wasn't eye contact during that moment, but it actually came later during another one that I'm really enjoying, another huge favorite of mine off of their brand new album Revolution Radio. That was Forever Now.
That's our last song, it's called Forever Now. My name is Billy and I'm freaking out.
Right as he uttered the opening line of that track, "My name's Billy and I'm freaking out," that line right there, he was smiling and looking right at me. I shit you not. That was the best part. That was the longest, obviously, and that was the coolest thing because obviously I was shouting it right back to him, and I was smiling more as I realized that I was making the eye contact, and he did too. You know, he gives that kind of crooked, snarled smile. The set list was incredible. Obviously, there's always songs that you would love to see added, and there's no such thing as the perfect set list for some people unless they play their entire discography, but I was so pleased with the way it turned out. I actually didn't look at the set list until like the day before. I had my girlfriend read it to me on the phone as I was on my way up to Pittsburgh for the show, and I was like, alright, I'm gonna have to know. I need to know which songs I need to be prepared to sing along to and that sort of thing, and I was really surprised and pleased. Obviously, the main omission that I understand why it's left off just because it's such a difficult song to sing for Billie Joe Armstrong, Wake Me Up When September Ends, that was honestly the only one that I was really hoping that they would play and really thinking that they would, just because it's such a massive song, but I totally understand why they won't. But I'm seeing them again in September, so hopefully maybe they'll add it to the set list at that point. The band played a classic mix of older songs and new ones, obviously some great cuts like the title track Revolution Radio from their new album, Bang Bang, and Forever Now was incredible, Youngblood, and I thought that those were great moments, but they balanced that out by playing some older ones. 2,000 Light Years Away from Kerplunk, which he announced as the song that we wrote in 1991, and I'm just like, yes, shout out to 1991, because that's when I was born, bitches. The most electrifying and surprising moment from their older material to me was Burnout. I love that song so much. Probably my favorite off of Dookie, at least at the moment. Sure, they played the staples like She, When I Come Around, Basket Case, but this one is one that really obviously amped up the crowd, got everybody shouting, dancing, and just jumping around. But I feel like this one doesn't always get played. Obviously, I haven't attended a Green Day concert before, but I've looked up plenty of their set list. I'm not sure how often it is on there, but it wasn't one of the singles from the record, so I'm really pleased that I actually got to experience that one live. I think that, along with some of the other cuts like Jesus of Suburbia, obviously, I was drained at that point, but I did not care. I pushed my voice as far as I could, I danced, I sang, I screamed along, and it was fantastic. A jubilant moment that I had waited for. If you guys have seen my top 20 Green Day songs, you know that that one is my number 2 favorite, and they also played my number 3 as well, which was another big surprise, one that I constantly praise as super underrated, probably the most underrated single that they've ever released. It's off of their 2000 album Warning, and it's called Waiting. And whenever that came on, I felt so full of life. It's so just refreshing to actually be there, to be at the show, to be singing those words back after so long. I've been waiting a long time for this moment to happen. Holiday was another massive song to see live. I thought that one was an absolute smash. I was chanting along, singing along, and then through some of the other American Idiot cuts like Are We the Waiting / St. Jimmy, which was a rip-roaring good time. St. Jimmy just pumped me full of life. There was a moment in the show, I think it was around like the 5th or 6th song, right around 2,000 Light Years Away, where I started kind of feeling sorry for myself because I was just like, oh, I had like the roughest day. My stomach has still been killing me from all the stuff like that was going on with my sickness, and before that, during Against Me, I was like, am I even going to be able to make it through the entire Green Day set list? And I was feeling so tired. In fact, I turned over to Hannah and I was just like, I am fucking exhausted, and we're only 6 songs in. what am I gonna do? But as I started picking up the energy again, like right after that, I think right around that time they played Waiting. That is one of those moments where I said, are you gonna sit here? Are you gonna feel sorry for yourself for like what's going on? Are you gonna have the best fucking night of your life? And that is where everything changed for me. I unleashed and I caught a second wave of energy. And I'm so glad that I did that, because there was like one song or so where I was just kind of not feeling it, and I was like, what are you doing to yourself, John? Why would you strip this away? Thank God I got out of that mentality so quickly and had a fucking blast. For the final part of my concert recap, I wanted to bring on my girlfriend, because obviously you were there at the show with me last night. Wasn't that like incredible, like an amazing experience?
Definitely the best band I've ever seen live, I would say, by far.
Right, just the sheer energy and just the volume of songs that they have in their catalog and the way that they play them live. What were some of the best moments of the night for you?
I thought, honestly, when they do, like, the King for a Day and everything, that was hilarious.
Yes, the way that they dress up.
They just go all over the place, and, like, Trey was, like, kicking his legs up all the way to, like, his face, and it's just, like, how does he do this? Like, they do that every night, like, when they play, and it's just, like, really impressive from, like, an older band now.
In terms of the overall vibe of the show and just the set list, were you pretty happy overall? I think
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think the set list was, like, a pretty good mix of, like, everything that you'd really expect from them for the most part, including, you know, a good handful of the newer songs. And it was also really impressive, like, the amount of songs they played. Like,
about 30, I think, overall,
yeah, it was
including
27.
including some of the covers though.
Yeah, there were, like, medleys, so technically it's way more than that. But, like, that's definitely been, like, the longest show that I've been to, like, where it's just one band playing for that long. It was, like, 2.5 hours or something.
Right, which was an incredibly long show. I feel like to be at least standing for at least me, like, right after recovering. But it was, yeah, people were, like,
down there, it was, like, you could tell everyone was exhausted. But, like, you're there, so you have to really give it your all. Like, a couple times, like, between songs, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm gonna make it to the end of this.
But then the next song comes on, and there you are,
like,
jumping.
You just can't help but, like, jump up and down and sing, because everyone around you is doing that, and you can't just sit there and,
right, exactly. You're not going to be the one person pouting at a Green Day show, like, I don't know if I want to jump up and down to Jesus of Suburbia or not. Hannah's also going to be doing a Concert Diaries video. I might briefly appear in that. It's going to be up on her channel this Wednesday, or maybe it's already up. If it's up already, I will put a link down in the description down below. But thanks for coming on for a minute and chatting about the concert with me, Hannah, and thanks for letting me use your backdrop. That about wraps up my concert recap for today. My first ever time seeing Green Day live. It was incredible. I also got a poster to commemorate it and a shirt. Be sure to leave a like on the video today, guys, to let me know that you enjoyed the video. Of course, maybe if you would like to see more concert videos in the future, let me know about it in the comments section down below, and let me know your experiences with seeing Green Day live. If you would like to connect with me on social media, all of the links that you see here are in the description down below. You can check out another Green Day themed video by clicking right here, or another video that I think you might like from Beyond ARTV right here. You can click in the corner to see my Patreon and support and help the videos keep coming on a monthly basis. Other than that, I'll see you very soon right here on Beyond ARTV.